are not actually going to give us the nutritional relationship that we need to develop. That's why mentorship is such a strong meme word. And that's why like Andrew Tate and people like that have been able to make so much money, because what they're saying in some sense is really true. Like if you want to walk down a path, whatever kind of path that is, it's a human relationship with another person, especially when it goes to developing your mind and your way of relating to yourself. So we
Right.
can pick up all the different philosophies and ideas and pills that we want, but if it's not based in the lived experience of another human being, that's we're kind of like missing out on the main way that we develop as human beings.
How do you know AI
Okay.
doesn't have a how do you know it doesn't have like a personality or
And
anything?
also what you brought up and what a lot of people bring up in the black pill is true, is that there is kind of an inconvenient truth about this whole situation. Right? So like genetically, in one sense, people are going up and they're not conventionally attractive, and that's probably going to be the way that it is mostly, right? But this also goes into the mental field of your lived experiences. Like if you grew up in an abusive home, that's going to be your situation, right? That's going to be the primary relationship and the structure of your brain. All I'm saying is that it's possible to change that mindset and to heal that mindset, but you're going to have to rely on maybe deeper perspectives and deeper approaches and deeper practices that are not normally available to people in our culture that value materialism over everything else, which is very convenient in a society that values greed so highly, right? So our society isn't like focusing on public health. It's focusing on, can we keep extracting money out of the situation? It's not really a society that values like young men's mental health. It's not, our
That's
culture doesn't care about that. And I think that the black pill is a response to that in a lot of ways.
I mean, really, if you want to simplify it for like a way that other people might be able to understand it easier, is just finding purpose in life, right? You could agree with that.
Find purpose, and also you can't undervalue, and I don't want to put you guys into that position where I'm like trying to convince you of something, right? But you can't undervalue the gut and the heart connection that you make with another human being, and then you bring them into your new family system, internal family system. And for me, I had to rebuild my internal family system to create a network of my mind that would allow me to not be going deeper and deeper into mental health issues or complex suffering, if you get what I'm saying. So like that
No, I do.
feeling,
I do.
not like you believing in me or thinking I'm this guy or that guy or what I say is true, but just the heart feeling and the gut feeling that says, okay, this is somebody who seems to know where the food is that I'd like to eat, and I'm forming a connection with that guy because that's the kind of food that I like to eat, that I need. You know what I mean? And then you allow that
But
connection to be there in your life and support you in your finding your purpose. But if we're just finding our purpose from a position of selfishness, that's basically a broken purpose, because the reason that humanity has been able to develop to the degree that it has is because of our capacity to communicate with one another deeply and collectively. So if you're looking to advance or develop something deeply internally, that's going to mostly be in relationship with community and relationships that are real and not just there to exploit you. Like the algorithm, for example, the social media
I think that
algorithm.
people are also exploitive. I think people are trying to maximize profit. Like companies, you can generally go off that principle. They're going to
Yeah.
take
Goes
the
hand in hand
action.
though. How are you gonna see community if you're
People like
sub
to do
five?
it.
okay.
Well, you can be
No,
sub
see,
five
this is
physically, but you could be sub five physically, but you could be 8 plus prime in mind maxing, meaning you could be peaceful, you could be content, you could be happy, you could be joyful. You could have a very deep way of understanding your own mind and how to stop suffering and how to be a better
I
person, how to be more patient, how to be more kind, how to be more compassionate. And it's the shame of our education system that we've never heard these words or been taught to value like peace inside of ourselves before. Hero T, please mute your mic, guys, if you're not talking. We don't need to hear like weird background noise.
Wait, what is your view of the mind, Dr. Rob? Do you think, I know, it's your theory of it. Do you have your own personal,
What?
somebody saying something?
Hello, my Lux Maxes.
What is your personal theory, like, if you had to summarize it? Like,
Personal theory of the mind?
yeah.
So it's basically for most of us, for what most of us are experiencing and dealing with regularly, it's basically a large language model in space. That's what the mind is for
like
most of us. Yeah. And so so what you can do is you can learn. So let's mute those people. Let's shut those. I'm just locally muting those people because we're also streaming this. So I can't have people in the background like making random noises. If you're not serious, you can leave. So basically what we need to do is to realize space or realize the emptiness of thought. And then we can begin to work with the large language model inside of our own mind from that basis of space, or that basis of the absence of thought, the absence of biases, the absence of compulsion, and then we can change it. And then it is possible to like stop the large language model in your own mind. Like to stop the constant compulsive thinking that creates all the suffering, all the confusion, all the ego, all the delusions. Yeah, meditation, and also connecting with people that have already done that, developed that. Please put your Discord settings on, so there's no need for us to hear like background static. Turn your crisp all the way up, turn your noise cancellation all the way up, because we are live streaming this, so we want to have a high production value, guys. We want to be on our best audio video quality possible.
So you have like a social media like following. So with that being said, like I'm sorry, I just gotta like speak bluntly. Like you were really spazzing out last night in the bathtub, saying whatever, and I just don't like and it also go against like the way that you're conducting yourself right now. Like you were a completely different person the other night. And it's just really throwing me off right now because, preach what you like, actually follow through with what you preach, you know what I mean?
Well, there's a lot of different there's a lot of different elements of that, but the first element of that is that life or reality is not a movie or a TV show. It's not story based. Right? So like if we see our worldview primarily from like movies and TV shows, which most of us do, because we haven't spent time with groups of women, we haven't spent time with groups of men, we haven't had much meaningful experiences in community or in our lives growing up. Like most of the meaningful experiences we've had are through movies and TV shows, other than maybe trauma, right? So that view is very deeply flawed, because those TV shows and those movies that are so convincing, that seem so real, are the absolute opposite of what real is. You see what I'm saying? Like those are totally fake. Those are totally produced. There's nothing authentic. There's nothing genuine in that, right? It's like the opposite of genuineness. So when you look at this experience right now, without the AI model or the large language model of one thought after another, you get to experience what's called the noumenon, or reality as it is, rather than reality how it appears to be. So I'm going to mute that person. I'm muting that person on my end. If you guys want to hear that, that's okay, but we're doing a stream, so.
You're talking about the object in itself? The object in itself.
Well, it's Kantian. It's Kantian philosophical terms, right? So there's a phenomenal world, which is like the world of appearances, and then there's a noumenal world, which is reality as it is. So like the name that we give to something is not what it actually is, and the thing that we see, or like the form that we see, is not actually what it is. It's just the appearance of it.
How do we know about reality?
We're able to know about reality by detaching from thought, because thought is just a tool to use to exploit reality. So it's like if we thought reality was a fire, or reality was the way to make a fire, that would be confused. Reality is, well, we're not separable from a reality as well. So reality is like the nature of your mind. The basis of your mind is reality. And the construct or the notion, the idea of all these separate things is just a thought or a tool that's to be made use of.
Construct objects? We are the things that construct objects, is what you're saying? Like we create reality?
Well, that we is an idea, that we is a thought, as much as that there's no we, there's no real things, there's nothing, right? That's also a thought. And the idea that we exist, or that like Jellyhead is a particular kind of person in a particular kind of situation, and I'm a particular kind of person in a particular kind of situation, is a thought. And it's also very similarly based in movies or TV shows and stories that we know are inherently not real or true. And so it's not something to give you like your ego to flip out. It's actually a pointer to help you return to a basis of awareness that's kind of like space. Right. So the mind is kind of like space in that it can contain or accept or is inclusive of everything, but it is none of those things that appear in it. So that the basis of your mind, or the basis of who you really are, is more like space than it is things that appear and our ideas about those things, etc. And that's where meditation is as well. That's where like the practice of meditation is allowing your mind to be like space and just perceiving and being aware of the arising and passing away of thoughts and feelings in the body.
Is there anything permanent underneath there, like a persisting self?
Yeah. So it's not a persistent self. What we would say is that it is that what is permanent is ever new impermanent nature. Of cause and effect only. So the only thing that's permanent is impermanence. So if you brought up anything here, like if you brought up your physical body, if you brought up the idea of your mind, which if you go into contemplative philosophy, you'd practice to observe your mind, and you'd see that any and all elements of what you call your mind are impermanent phenomena appearing and disappearing moment by moment, right? And so that the basis of permanence, as far as we can see as perceivers or observers, anything that we can perceive is impermanent. So we would say that the only permanent thing is this impermanence. And another way to describe this impermanence is ever new impermanent nature of cause and effect only, or unfathomable cause and effect. We have to remove our like superiority, our pride, our ego from the equation to actually look at our own minds. So all of these constant affirmations that we give to ourselves don't allow us to actually do the scientific work of mind observation or mind investigation without biases. Right? And so that's the core of mind science, is to remove all your biases and to turn your mind around and look at your own mind. And that is meditation. Right? So I just want to say this, in the modern practical philosophies, which would be like psychology, like how we relate to psychology and how we use philosophy to deal with mental health issues, there's nothing bigger now than meditation, mindfulness, focus on your breathing, etc. So it's interesting how our modern psychology, which is the most modern expression of our Western philosophy to help deal with the problems of the mind, either goes to research chemicals to give to children that grow up in abusive homes and now they're depressed, so we give them ADHD, or a broken education system, so we give people ADHD meds, or we give them these SSRI medications that we don't fully understand, or all these therapists, all these psychiatrists telling people to meditate, telling people to be mindful, etc., etc. So there's actually a lot of deep information in these tradition of contemplative philosophy that's more like a science or a technology that we find in something like Buddhism specifically. If you go into like Eastern spirituality or Hinduism or stuff like that, you're going into a whole lot of different stuff that's all combined and mixed up. But if you go into Buddhism, it's basically like the institution of Eastern philosophy or Eastern understanding of the mind. It's one of the preeminent institutions, like Harvard or Princeton or whatever.
Right. What do you think about therapy? What do you think about therapy? Like, are you against that, or what about
therapy? therapy and those techniques can be super, super helpful. But what you'll find in any modern developed therapy is that they're teaching people to be mindful. They're teaching people to meditate. They're leaning onto these technologies such as just concentration, right? The science, the technique of concentrating on the mind itself, more so than they're leaning into Western psychology, which is so interfused with psychiatry, which is so interfused with the profit model of the pharmaceutical industry.
I feel like people don't take introspection seriously because most people are materialists.
Well, you won't know how to. So this is the idea that in Western thought or for Western philosophy and Western psychological systems, we don't actually know how to meditate. We're missing out on this technology or this science of mind work in a very, very deep way. And so if you tell people to introspect, they're probably just going to give more attention and energy to the compulsive flow of thinking. And actually, the technology that we're talking about in like Buddhist meditation would be to learn how to stop thought and then to reflect on serenity or reflect on the natural absence of compulsive seeking.
It can help you become less distractible as well. Because
Yeah.
you're letting thoughts enter it. Just not.
But a big issue for that in our I want you to say that, but I just want to say this. A major issue in our inability to do that is our total lack of morality in our culture. So we don't value morality. And in capitalism, for example, or like America in particular, what is the so the foundation of morality in something like Buddhism would be generosity. Like our capacity to be generous makes us human. It makes society work. It makes community work. It makes our relationships with others and our relationship with ourselves workable. So when you replace that with greed, you basically have a broken system. And so until you can start being generous, until you can start seeing the value of doing things for others to benefit others, then it's a big problem, and meditation is going to be kind of untenable.
Just sounds a bit like communism, to be fair. You know what I mean? Like helping everyone out so much, it's no longer like, fend for yourself.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Well, you have to think about it, right? So, in what kind of environment, externally, in what kind of relationship would it be possible for you to have a good situation without practicing generosity? And so, in terms of your own mind, you're missing out on this key of being generous, of the value of being good, of the value of giving up what you hold on to. And you create an internal structure of self fixation and self grasping that makes you go basically crazy. And it also makes you not able to form deep and meaningful relationships with other people.
I feel like that comes from empathy, right? It's where you think about, you feel how other people feel, and that's why you help them because you feel bad. If that makes sense. Like if somebody's in pain, I see them and I feel bad, and then I'm feeling bad, and that's why I help them out. I feel like that's
Why
how.
is this meow bitch showing a picture of me?
Because you mentioned earlier egoism.
All right, guys.
I'm
So,
actually like an egoist.
so guys, we are going to head over to the. I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with the official Black Pill server, but we're going to go over there. We're going to do a stage event if you guys want to join. And that's the org. Okay. So how's everybody doing in the chat? All right, everybody. So we are continuing our online work for our Monk Life Meditation Sangha, Monk Life Sangha. And as a member of the community, as somebody who values the community, please do feel welcome and invited to make a donation to support this work. Of course, you don't have to pay for this. Even if nobody donated, if nobody gave me any money for these activities and for this sharing, I'd still do it because it's my way of making merit. But if you would like to show your support and express your sense of being a part of a community, you're welcome to send a super chat. You're welcome to make a donation. We just sent up a website as well that you can reach out. You can join our mailing list and all those things. If you do make a donation through Streamlabs, you can donate as much as you like. 100% of the donation goes directly to the creator versus YouTube, where they take something sometimes like 50%, and your message will become text to speech and it will appear up here on the screen. So that stuff is really appreciated and valued, whether it's a super chat on YouTube, whether it's through Streamlabs. We also have other ways to donate for those people who are inspired and would like to support our work. We're in the process of starting a meditation center and community space here in Vietnam. And there'll be a lot more opportunities over the next 6 months, over the next year, for people to come and visit Vietnam, to come and practice with our community, and to learn more about Buddhism and meditation, and hopefully become a stream enterer, become a sotapanna, get a little bit of a piece of the pie of enlightenment. If you have any questions, you're welcome to ask. Suffering drew me to find a way to bring an end to suffering and to transform that suffering. That's how I found meditation and Buddhism. All right, everybody, let's leave some likes on the chat. Come on, a lot of time we have a lot of sleepy goobers here, right? So let's get some big W's in the chat. Let's make sure you leave a like, make sure you subscribe, make sure you participate, help with the algorithm. Make sure that when you're here, you're volunteering, you're supporting, you're participating in a real way. Okay? It's important. Yeah, very much so, Worm. Very much so. And a big thing that we get caught up in is basically being lost in the hindrances, like being lost. It's like when you wake up from dreaming, you wake up from sleep, and you're very tired, and so the mind is running and running and running, and you're sleepy and you're falling back asleep, etc. We create an identity out of that, and we then identify with that mind. So we have to watch out for that because actually it's just something that's happening because that hindrance is present. So if we cut off that hindrance, if we wake up, we get up, then that will stop. It's not actually you, right? All right, welcome in everybody. Hope you guys are doing good. It's morning time where you are, maybe. I am Dr. Rob, sometimes called Dr. Yab. I am the former Buddhist monk that's one of the mentors in the org community, the Black Pill community. So I'm here to support you guys and share with you guys and teach with you guys about going from the Black Pill to the Buddha pill. We want this to be an engaging conversation where everybody can come and join and ask questions and share. We can have a deep and meaningful discussion about our Black Pill journey. But I do have an expectation that you guys are real, that you guys are authentic, that you guys are genuine, that you guys are sincere. And I hope that you will come and participate and be a part of this program and be a part of this work, all right? So we're hope to have a big session and a very good, deep session together. And welcome in, guys. Yeah, so raise your hand. But if you come up, remember, you're talking to a moderator here. So if you come up and you just troll or whatever, you might very well get banned or get a timeout. So I don't want that to happen to anybody. So let's start with Ivan, who looks like a good-looking young man. Come on up, Ivan.
Hello, brother.
Yeah, go ahead. So what's your black pill question?
Yes. No, brother, first I want to ask, like, what is this whole Buddhist thing? I don't understand, brother.
Well, the Buddha pill is very much like mind maxing. So being able to go deeper into your own mind, being able to understand the nature of your own mind more and more deeply, more and more clearly.
From the Buddhist perspective, or what, or general?
Well, the Buddhist system is basically like a science of the mind. It's like a technology or an education system. It's not actually about a religion like believing in Buddhism. So Buddhism is just the religion or the university that's been created from the practice of meditation. You see what I'm saying? So it's all about mind technology at its core, at its root. Buddhism is less about religion, it's more about technology of the mind. You understand what
Okay,
I'm saying?
brother, thank you,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah. So
Yes,
for
understand.
people who want to learn about Buddhism or learn about meditation or whatever, it doesn't need to be about taking on a religion or believing in a religion, right? Trying to look better in every way, not just in terms of the outside appearance, but also in terms of the mind. So that's very powerful. It's a very powerful way to go about doing things. All right, guys, so we're here to have a discussion. Raise your hand, come up to the stage, and let's get to it, everybody. Let's really talk about the deep stuff, all right?
Hello.
Yeah.
So like as I was saying, like like black pill, right?
Yeah.
So it's really an idea of a lot of other people's opinions as well as yourself. So for me, if it wasn't for other people's opinions, I don't think I would be like this much into it, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And I just want to I just want to know, like, is that a good way to approach it or not?
So that's that's not a good way to approach it if you're doing it that way, right? So the Buddha pill is that we learn to detach from other people's opinions. We're not
Right.
focused so much, we're not worried so much, we're not lost so much in other people's opinions. Everybody, my granddaddy, not really, but somebody used to say, you know what I mean? Opinions are like assholes. Everybody's got one. Not everybody, actually, but most people have them, and most of them stink. You see what I'm saying? And so, our ability to detach from what other people think is only going to be realized or actually happen by our internal practice of detaching from what we think. So, our ability
Right.
to be deeply aware, more and more deeply aware of our own thoughts, but not to attach to those thoughts, that's what the Buddha pill is about. That's what mind maxing is about.
Okay. Because like of course on social media there's a lot of people saying like, oh, you should be like this, you should be like this, and this is what like black pill actually is and stuff. And I think it's just really come to an idea where it's just coming to something where like it's just like an incel movement, I guess
Oh,
now.
it's poisonous. That stuff is so poisonous for your mind. It's so poisonous for the way that you look at yourself and relate to yourself. And so instead of that, we know how to practice meditation, and meditation is just you turning the mind around. Instead of the mind that's looking outwards, the mind that's watching the Instagram reels, the mind that's looking at this and that and all these kinds of different things, we're actually turning the mind around and looking at our own mind and watching the process of thoughts happening without being lost in those thoughts, without identifying with those thoughts.
That's something I really needed to know though, because like
Yeah.
so many people say different things, and like I don't know, man. Like that's it. That's what I want to say.
And
Thanks so
this
much.
it's a kind of technology actually that you can not be attached to the thoughts that appear in your mind. And when you can do that, you can choose the kind of thoughts that you have, right? You can choose the kind of mental state and mental experience that you have. But until you can detach or not identify with the thoughts and the things that keep appearing and disappearing, you actually don't have any control. You just have the illusion of control.
I can get behind that idea, to be honest. Like I need to actually, I guess, research more into that type of stuff more than I see online. You know what I mean? Yeah. I'm gonna let someone else come up now. Yeah.
Yeah, and one of the best ways that you can do that to kind of absorb that technology into yourself is to spend time connecting to, like, open up a connection in your mind, right? With someone who's actually doing that. So this is my YouTube channel. This is my live stream that's going on right now. And that's a really powerful and a really important way for you to bring some of this technology into yourself, because that's the primary way that we learn, is by our empathizing with other people's minds and the way that they carry themselves, the way that they operate. So it might be something that you want to look into. All right, Volpa, come on up. What's your question, Volpa?
So, I mean, what are the benefits on replacing like the black pill with the Buddha pill?
Well, with the black pill, you're going to be quite angry a lot of the time. And you're going to be creating this constant flow of thinking that's in conflict with the thinking of the world. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And that takes
Yeah.
a lot
it's
of
a great
energy.
mental health.
That
I
takes,
could see that.
yeah, that takes so much energy. And what we actually want to do in the Buddha pill is we want to be free. We want to be free from the ego. We want to be free from ourselves. And you can only be free from yourself by finding your true self. And so this is a question in the Buddha pill or in mind maxing. Who am I? And meditation is also being able to contemplate and ask that kind of question deeply within yourself.
Would you say that a lot of people actually reap the benefits of being black pilled though?
No, of course not. It's a cope.
You just see it as a complete mental illness?
No, it's not necessarily a mental illness. It's a cope, right? It's a way for us to cope with the situation or reality that we don't understand. And we're also outsourcing our like independence or the control over our own mind or our ability to feel the way that we want to feel into the external environment. So why are you black-pilled? You're black-pilled because it doesn't line up with you how you want to feel and how the world treats you and how the world reacts to you. So when you go into the Buddha pill or you go into mind maxing and you turn the mind around and you start to actually look at your own mind, Now you can make your mind be the way that you want it to be. So you firstly have to learn how to stop thoughts. You have to begin relating to stopping thoughts. Okay, how about this? You tell me if you have an experience like this, Volpa. So when I wake up in the morning, I'm kind of like in a half waking, dreaming state. So I can see my mind like producing thoughts and dreaming, and I'm very tired. And it's like, do I wake up from that, or do I go back into that, and fall asleep again? You know what I'm talking about? So
Yeah.
when you take the Buddha pill, your waking up is a stopping of thinking and a stopping of identifying with those thoughts as you, as who you really are. So you're free. When you take something like the black pill or the red pill or all these other kind of pills, you're actually just trying to make different thoughts that make you feel more important or more powerful. But it's actually not control, it's a cope, right? It's a coping from your ability to be free from this compulsion of thinking. Meditation helps us be free from the compulsion of thinking.
Yeah. But I kind of see the blue pill, red pill, black pill are like avenues of self-improvement based on a realization of how you're treated. Like blue pillars would try to like work on their personality, and then red pillars would be like gym cells, and then black pillars just kind of realized like it's a collective, SMV dictated by like obviously the face is where it's most important. So I mean,
Well, it's a question of, do you want to choose what kind of prison you're in, or do you just want to be free? So for me, I don't want to create a prison for me to be in. I just want to be free, and I want to be free now. Free from what? Free from compulsive thinking. Free from compulsively judging my experience and chasing after something other than what is right here and now.
So essentially the Buddha pill is just the Ladar pill. Like just accept that I don't know, just like do nothing. Or just
Well, it's more
not
active
care.
than that. It's more active than that, right? So it's the highest level of care. What's really going on in your deeper mind? What's really going on in your unconscious mind? So the question then becomes, how much experience do you have in investigating your own mind? And the answer for most people is basically none, right? Except through more thinking. But the deeper mind doesn't operate through thinking. It doesn't operate through words and phrases. It's kind of just like the AI language model that exists in us. So we have to go deeper than the AI language model into our direct experience, especially the experience of the body. Did you hear about this Connor Murphy guy? Yeah. So it's a very good example of how this ego, this delusional ego, is so tricky and manipulative that we can think that we have everything figured out and that we're just a master troll or a master of the puppet master of other people. And then we wind up drowning in a Thai lake after we have injected gold into our bodies. You see what I'm saying? And so the Buddha pill is okay to go with any other pill. The Buddha pill can go with the red pill, it can go with the black pill, it can go with the blue pill. Whatever pill you want to take, the Buddha pill can go with that, but it gives you a deeper level of understanding of your own mind and more accuracy about how you use your mind to be skillful, to get what you really want. And what we really want is to be free. And instead of using all these coping mechanisms, we can actually find freedom in the here and now. Through our awareness of the absence of thoughts. That's one of the most important things. I mean, just be aware of not thinking. Try. Try to see the absence of thought in your experience right now. It's not difficult. But you can extend it. You can open that up. You can widen that out. You see what I'm saying?
So your goal isn't really to replace the black
Right.
pill with the Buddha pill. It's
Right.
more like implementing.
Yeah. It's more like a meme. It's implementing the
Gotcha.
Buddha pill into the black pill. Because you guys do whatever you want. I mean, my recommendation is that you are kind, you are generous, you are patient, that you have good mental health or whatever, but you're going to do what you want to do. right? I'm not here to tell you to not do what you're going to do or what you want to do. But establishing, adding this Buddha pill or this layer of awareness, this layer of presence, this layer of depth to whatever pill that you're using is going to make you more skillful and make you more safe. And that's all I want for you guys. I want you guys to be more safe, and I want you guys to end up being good fathers, being good community members, being good mentors, being good attendants to your own mind.
Got you. So is the Buddha pill against like injecting fillers into my face or like
No,
doing like
you can do that
cycles of
stuff.
shit,
You can do that
you know,
stuff.
injecting Chinese piss and taking
Right.
Indian orals.
Right. Well, let's see the body.
Whatever
Let's
it
see
may
what
be.
let's see what we've created so far. Let's turn the camera
Okay, I
around.
don't know about that. Right now.
Okay.
I'm not in my fraud. I could show pictures, but like
Yeah. Well, what
I'm only
it
basing
is
on
that
cycle.
what it is that you're coping, which is okay. We're all coping in one way or another, right? But you're coping to hope for a good result. And when you add the Buddha pill, you don't have to cope for a good result. You can just do those things while also knowing that you don't have to do those things to be at peace, to be happy, to be free, to be powerful, etc.
I've gotten pretty good results though. Like since the start, I'm treated as a different human.
Well,
it's not
all of the
completely
results are temporary. That's why it's completely cope. So it's trying to
like
hold
once I
on
start
to
Norwooding
it's
after
trying
30
to hold on to a temporary result and thinking that that's going to help us really get what we want, which is freedom. So it's like, do you also want to be a good father at some point?
Yeah, I want to reproduce. That's the whole point.
Yeah.
Where I need to like.
So you can
give my best
realize,
shot at finding a sexual partner.
yeah, but you can
know.
realize, right, that in the best case scenario of you taking all the substances, all the peptides, all the Chinese chemicals, you don't really know what's coming into you, right? All of that, is any of that actually, when you really, instead of, answering in a superficial ways, any of that actually going to help you to be a better father? And you know that the answer to that is not no, right? And so you'll be as the same kind of father that maybe your father was to you, which was absent, right? Where you don't have these deep, meaningful memories and experiences of being mentored growing up, of being raised, of feeling that deep connection and that deep presence of your father with you and in you. Which is why now you're following these coping mechanisms of trying to appeal to random people that you have nothing to do with. That's not a good way to live life. Not as the main way to live.
So what specifically about the Buddha pills can help me be a better father if I'm just like, absent of thought and, exploring my mind or whatever it may entail?
You'll have to meditate to find that out. You'll have to investigate your mind to find that out. Otherwise, it's never going to work.
Mm-hmm.
You know that. You don't have to say like that, because we develop these massive egos, right? Like all this pride, all this arrogance, all this self-importance, when we know that we actually don't have it all figured out. And instead of trying to figure it out, instead of trying to understand our own minds, instead of trying to understand reality, we're coping.
Mm-hmm. Well, I have a good
you
idea of what I want to do as a father. I want my child to do, combat sports or whatever it may be
right,
that I
but
did when I grew up.
these are shallow, superficial ideas of yourself in the story of fatherhood. But life isn't a story. We don't experience life like we experience a movie or a TV show. That's not really where life is. It's a kind of intimacy. It's a level of presence. And that's why it's also called mind maxing. It's to level up your layer of presence. And currently, instead of you trying to do that, you're trying to level up your appearance. So it's presence over appearance, the way that you appear. There's all kinds of wealthy, good-looking people that are very successful that have a very low level of presence. You see what I'm saying?
So what about like Tom Brady? He looks pretty, intimate with his son. He gives him like a little smooch on the lips and stuff like that. Is that something that would like, coincide?
Okay, next question. Let's bring up, he's being intentionally disingenuous and stupid. Maybe all the Chinese peptides have gone to his head. All right, guys, so raise your hand if you want to come up and ask a question, and I'll do my best to answer and support you. Yeah, your level of awareness, your level of presence. How deeply are you really fully here, and how deeply are you just lost in your ego and your internalized bullshit? Ali, this is also a great time to advertise the Black Pill server, maybe on LooksMax, because I can tell you this Black Pill server is a lot more dead than the other Black Pill server. So we need to start getting some energy in here, some presence in here, and some depth in here. So raise your hands, guys. Come up and ask a question and share. We're gonna have a conversation, okay? Don't be shy. This is a time for you to stand up and step up and be real and talk about real stuff. Life is gonna be real, isn't it? Whether you like it to be or not. All right, let's bring up Tony. I think Tony's just a troll. We'll bring him up anyway. What's up, Tony?
Hello, my good sir.
Hello, fine gentleman.
Okay, so Dr. Rob, why have you chosen the Looks Maxine community to target?
Next question. And we also have text-to-speech open over on the YouTube channel. Text-to-speech is open. So if you guys want to send a TTS donation, Namo Ayira Fuck, Namo Bonsu Kamani Fuck. So don't imply, don't ask any questions about me or what I'm doing or why I'm doing it. You ask a question from your experience, okay? I'm an administrator. I'm one of the leading mentors in the org community, okay? So it's not your position to ask, why am I involved with a community that I'm a senior member of, an administrator of, you as a guest, right? Because it's kind of implying that you're like a representative of org or LooksMax. I'm a representative of org and LooksMax. If I were to ask you, why did you choose to be in my community, our community, that would make sense, right? But it wouldn't make sense for you to ask me that. It's like you coming to my house and asking me, why have I chosen to be in my house? That doesn't make a lot of sense, does it? So maybe ask another question.
Okay. Okay, yes.
Do you see what I'm saying? Do you actually understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, I understand. I don't agree with it, but I understand.
Well, you'll agree with it when I ban you from the server, right? And then you'll be asking me to unban you. You'll be asking me, why did I choose to be the administrator for org, and if I'll unban you or not, right? Are you going to ask me to unban you? When I ban you in a few seconds, are you going to be DMing me asking me to unban you, or are you going to be DMing me asking me to?
Shut up, you fucking nigger!
Okay.
You fucking retarded nigger! I'm better than you, nigger! Shut up, nigger! Shut up, nigger! Fuck you, nigger! I'm better than you.
Okay. No, it is a valid question as well. So I've chosen to target the LooksMaxin community and the org community because it is a collective of cope for young men that are trying to find their place in a society that values them less and less, creating a philosophy of superficialness to feminize them and make them more attractive to gay men or to, whatever people are around. So, Namo Ayira Fak, Namo Bonsu Tika Muni Fak, Namo Kwantayam Bota. All right, Adam, what's up? What's up, Adam?
What's up, man? I wanted to ask how you can deal with paranoia, because it's something I've been really struggling with.
Yeah, I deal with it too, right? So you have to look at your mind. You have to be still. You have to develop your relationship with stillness, man. The stillness of the mind, the stillness of the body. This awareness that isn't based on all these different things going on. Do you hear what I'm saying there? Look at your mind and be still. And then you will begin to understand that who you are and what reality is not the compulsive thoughts going on or the compulsive stimulation going on. You see what I'm saying? So you're going to be paranoid as much as you're constantly identifying with all the thoughts and all the things that you see and all the things that you hear and all the motion, because there's going to be all kinds of things going on that you don't understand and that you aren't in control of. And so this cope or this LARP of being constantly in control, it actually creates problems in and of itself. Right? It creates the problems of you believing that you're in control and then being confronted by reality where you're not in control, and then you get confused because you think that you're supposed to be in control. You're not supposed to be in control. And this is my, it's not that complicated. It's not that crazy. Why am I here talking to these young men? I'm here talking to you guys to say, hey, look, it's very important that you guys know how to look at your own mind, how to work with your own mind, how to turn your outward attention internal, and to be aware of your thoughts without attaching to them and letting them control you. That's all I'm saying. It's not that crazy. It's not that wild. And it's important that you guys hear this because when you guys will actually start to have mental health issues is when you're like 25. But if you start to work with stillness and you start to work with your mind from here on out, you can prevent those issues from arising because you're not so fixated on identifying to and attaching to thoughts. Thoughts are crazy. Thoughts go wild all the time. So you can't just rely on thoughts. I don't think I'm the only one who has the answers. I'm just saying to you guys, as somebody who's dealt with mental, hold on. I'm just saying that for you guys, I'm coming to you guys as a 33-year-old man, somebody who's been through mental health issues, somebody who's, excuse me, sir. Excuse me, young man. What's going on here? Go ahead.
What happened? Hello? Yeah.
Is this guy glitching out or is it just me? Is this guy absolutely glitching out or is it just me? I can't hear what that guy's saying. Is it my connection or is it his? What's going on? Is my connection messing up or is it his? He's totally glitching out, right? So we can't hold that against him. All right. So let's go on to the big board here. Okay, let's go to the big board, everybody. Let's get some W's in the chat going for the big board, all right? You guys ready for that? Going to the big board? We're going to have to change our mic setup, so give me a second here. Why does that look so weird? We're going to go to the big board, all right, everybody? You don't want to end up like Connor Murphy, do you? Is that what you want? You want to end up like Connor Murphy? I am here. Okay. You guys hear me? Hold on. Okay, can you guys hear me good? I am here to make sure that you guys don't end up like Connor Murphy. Do you understand that? Does anybody here ever understand that? If you're saying it's too soon, maybe you want to check out my YouTube channel, my YouTube video that I just posted on why Connor Murphy died. ego and delusion. So listen to me here, okay? Here's our question that we're asking. How do we go from complicated thinking to awareness? How do we go from okay, hello? Can everybody hear me all right? Is the audio clear? How do we go from complicated thinking to awareness? Now, why would we want to go from complicated thinking to awareness? Well, first of all, maybe because complicated thinking is stressful, right? So, complicated thinking is stressful. Stress. How many of you are dealing with a lot of stress? Right? You already have a lot of stress. Awareness is peaceful. Life, for most guys, the most young people, is going to become what? Is life going to naturally become more peaceful, or is life going to become more stressful? Which one is most likely, do you guys, that is going to expect is going to happen as you have to transition away from being supported and raised and having your basic needs met to being in a competitive environment in the world where people don't respect you, where you're in competition with more people, etc., right? You're going to have more stress. So when you have more stress, you need more awareness and you need less complicated thinking. Now, you may have been misled, or you may have been told that your complicated thinking is very valuable, very important. But for most of us, we're not mathematicians, we're not philosophers, we're not psychologists. Many young men are not looking to get a degree and a high level of education, right? So that complicated thinking is primarily ego, meaning that it is primarily complicated thinking about ourself, our story, our desires, and our fears. And so what we're working to do here is, in a big circle, to go from ego to awareness, which is peaceful. So we're constantly dealing with stressful, complicated thinking. And the Buddha pill is to help us move from stressful, complicated thinking to peaceful awareness, which will allow your mind to become calm. Okay, so let's say that this is a lake here. This is a calm lake. Some ripples here and there, but primarily it's a calm lake. So that's peaceful. Okay, a calm lake is peaceful. Now, what is not peaceful is complicated thinking that is like a turbulent ocean or a turbulent lake, full of dust, full of stress, full of danger. Okay? And if we want to be a good father, if we want to have a good family, if we want to be a good caretaker for life, right? We don't want to bring our families into a dangerous, turbulent lake of complicated thinking, complicated emotions, and a lot of stress, right? We would much rather bring our community and our the people that depend on us to a peaceful lake, right? Now, what is the primary difference or the primary cause of a peaceful lake versus a stressed out, turbulent lake and environment? It is, okay, so the stress, another arrow here, the stress to this turbulent lake over here, very turbulent, very complicated. This is where our anxiety is, our depression is, our fear is, our psychosis is, our paranoia is, right? This disturbed lake over here. So the primary cause for this turbulent lake of the mind is, anybody know? Anybody have the idea? Attachment. The more that we have attachment, the more stressful and complicated our lake or our mind is going to be. So attachment creates this turbulent, stressful lake of stress, which is brought on by complicated thinking. Now, as an example of this, for a lot of guys here, you may think of a time. I can think of a time when I'm very hungry, right? I have a lot of hunger, and so when I'm very hungry and I really want to eat, sometimes I've gotten angry, I've gotten stressed, I've gotten worked up because my wife is Vietnamese, so she creates these very multifaceted Vietnamese meals where you have to put all this stuff together. It's like a puzzle piece that you got to put together to take a bite. And because I have that attachment to eating, that desire for food, now I'm getting worked up, I'm getting angry, I'm getting turbulent, right? And so what we're working to do as we go from the black pill to the Buddha pill is to turn attachment to, we're going to erase all this, everybody, so you memorize it for a sec. Okay? What are we working to do? What we're working to do a lot of complicated stuff. Let go of it, right? Not holding on to it. Peaceful and aware. So what we're working to do, right, is to go from attachment to detachment. This is our work in the Buddha pill. To go from attachment to detachment. So detachment is not that you're not hungry. It's not that you don't have a desire. But there's not all this extra clinging, this extra desire, this extra seeking, this extra complicated thinking that makes the lake or the ocean of our mind so turbulent and stressed and complicated. So we may still want to eat that food, but we're not attached to that outcome. So how do we go from attachment to detachment? This is a practice point, right? This is a basic practice point with generosity. So what is generosity? And how does generosity help us go from attachment to detachment? Generosity is practically, just like in meditation, to give away. What is generosity? Generosity is So generosity is giving away our attachment object, which is the practice of mindfulness and detachment. So with the practice of mindfulness and detachment, we are able to take our attachment and turn it into detachment. Now, how do we practice generosity? Well, if we start talking about meditation, it's very difficult. Because when we start to practice meditation and now we're fully, deeply, presently aware of our own minds, things get very confusing. Who am I? What's this? What's that? Am I my thoughts? Am I my identity? Am I my ego? What does detachment mean? What does attachment mean? So for a lot of people, meditation is not going to be realistic or practical for them because it's too confusing, it's too complicated, takes too much energy. So we start to work with generosity with objects that we are attached to. Can anybody give me an object that they are attached to? Maybe a thought, maybe a material object. A phone. That's right. That's right. Could be a phone. Any questions, guys? A chocolate bar, 100%. And for a lot of us, it's going to be something like money. It's also our attachment to the body, attachment to the mental appearances and physical things. Okay. And so when we practice to give away that thing, it could be something like you could practice generosity by volunteering, by giving up your time, your control of your body to help take out the trash at home. By doing something as simple as that can be an action of generosity. And when we start to practice generosity, yes, I know, Zach, I know, but we have to practice with it before it gets better, right? It's my first time. So when we practice generosity with basic material objects or the simple practical things that we're used to, we will then be able to apply that to more and more subtle attachments, such as the mental attachments in our minds that reduce our level of presence, reduce our level of awareness. And that's how we turn attachment into detachment. And that's what the Buddha pill is all about. Okay. Any questions? Come on up to the stage, guys. Let's turn this into an open discussion. Okay. So one of the questions here it says, what about a person? As an example, a person you love and you both have broken up. The attachment to that person doesn't fade instantly. That's precisely why we practice generosity practically to develop this power of detachment. So instead of fixating on that person that you love and you've broken up with them and it's this and it's that, like somebody said in the chat, they said, just be generous, bro. That's precisely true. If we think too much about it, we won't practice it. Thank you very much, Velocid, for subscribing. Another question would be, how are thoughts not interconnected? How is a tree not connected to the earth? How is a tree not connected to the sun? How is the earth not connected to space? So thoughts are connected through awareness. Thoughts are connected through their mutual disappearance. Oh, about cook again? To cook again? This is just called nihilism, Zach, and it's very, very problematic. I'll be doing a takedown video. Actually, we'll be having a premiere of a takedown video on a non-duality teacher, a fake non-duality teacher called Angelo DeLulu, and that will be premiering on my channel a few hours from now. So I hope everybody will show up for the premiere and enjoy it.
Only after we've lost everything.
You walk to that precipice enough times that at some point you just
really have nothing left to lose and you just jump off.
And something just let go. It just fell away.
I was stunned. I was stunned that life could be that beautiful. That life could be experienced that directly.
There was no sense of body any longer. The hands felt as if they had swelled up to the size of the house, and it was as if I had shot out of the head like a cannon, like at the speed of light with just a kaleidoscope of colors, and there was just no sense of anything left behind.
It just felt like my whole life just burst. And that was totally fine.
It came with a lot of tears and a lot of smiling.
The mind went very, very quiet. The spirit went very, very quiet. The universe went very, very quiet. And there was a deep, deep peace and a deep rest. remember walking by people and I could suddenly feel everything they were feeling inside. I could feel their emotions. I could feel their sadness and their grief. And I was very young. And so it wasn't a mental understanding. It was simply a feeling. It was very profound. And I remember sort of tugging on my parents' hand as we were walking, pointing back and wanting to almost go to that person and perhaps comfort them. I don't really know. And my parents gave the usual reaction of, don't stare at strangers or let's go, But I remember very profoundly that sense of sort of a boundlessness in the human dimension, an empathy that was so complete that I couldn't really tell whether it was me or them.
I think along growing up, I sort of started to develop this, something is wrong with me because I'm in the sensory experience. I remember I had a hard time with conversation. So I was dyslexic and couldn't understand what people were telling me. And so when somebody would be speaking to me, I would be tracing their face and I would be drawing and outlining their face with my eyes and with just like perceiving through the visual field and that tactile feeling sense. And I just perceived that something was wrong with me because I didn't understand them, but it felt so natural for me to really just be in the sensory and felt experience.
I had run a theater company for about 20 years at the time and kind of had reached a place in life where it seemed I had hit some kind of barrier and was pretty much done with the conventional life. I just had done cycle after cycle after cycle and didn't seem like life was going to get any better. No matter what choice was made or what was acquired in life, it just it seemed like a freezing place.
Before I became interested in the possibility of waking up, I would say that I had pretty acute and pervasive anxiety. I also had a lot of mood shifts, pretty low moods, and I was overall very dissatisfied with my experience of life and of myself.
When I was a child, my biggest suffering was always around not being accepted for who I was. I was kind of precocious and just adults were frequently annoyed by me and most kids were annoyed by me too. And so my way of being with myself was to spend lots of time alone in my room or out in the woods by myself. And for me, both